Um, we had a pretty crappy lieutenant, water bar, first lieutenant, and who never really.
Crappy because he was just so junior and didn't know anything, or just he just was a very good leader.
Well, he overall everything was bad. Never went on patrols, just commanded everything. Bad judgments, things like
Oh,
that. He thought he
one of those
he
guys.
thought he knew everything. When our sergeants will tell him like, "Hey, we can't do this, we can't go there," he would be like, "No, it's my saying. It's I'm the lieutenant. I say what goes," kind of deal. But he will never go out with
Yeah.
us. He went on one patrol the entire deployment. Um, so my sergeant, they would bump heads all the time, and one day, F bombs were thrown around, and it was like, all right, well, tomorrow you're gonna go 10 miles out, check out on this bridge, and you know, that summer of Iraq, it was like 130 degrees. So we went out 10 miles, look at this bridge, and going out there, it was just miserable. We're kind of checking on IEDs on the roads, things like that, and check on this bridge to see bad guys coming through. But on our way back, um, man, it was like not even the last mile, maybe half a mile before we got back to the house we were staying in. I, from what I can recall, it was canals that were dried up because it was midsummer. I remember kind of going down and up over them because we didn't want to walk on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And right at the bottom of, I want to say it was the second or third one, I stepped on some sort of landmine. Some sort of buried IED. All I remember, everything went dark, and I could hear people talk, very muffled. Um, yeah, obviously, I was pretty out of it. Um,
Yeah.
Worst pain ever. Obviously, every bone hurts, everything hurts. You just on fire. Uh, I kind of came to a little bit as the corpsman was talking to me. Um, I just didn't see anything on the ground, and it looked like it had rained maybe a few days back, so everything was kind of like washed out.
Yeah.
And
It probably smoothed out any kind of marks that were there and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and I remember coming back too when I'm mid-flight in the helicopter, and obviously I'm medevaced, and I went back out, and uh, apparently I got flight out to Balad, the Air Force Base
Yeah.
out there. I was bleeding pretty bad from the ears, just internal concussion. I couldn't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
Had a piece of shrapnel came out from under me and kind of cut me up. Got a scar here, and my knee swelled up and got bruises everywhere. But no limbs were damaged, and I got very lucky because
Yeah.
several weeks before, several guys had stepped on identical IEDs and lost one, two limbs, even up to three limbs. And just the EOD guys, when they went back and checked it out, they said the previous rain had kind of compacted dirt to where the
Mm.
concussion of the explosion got muffled, and I got launched in the air pretty good,
Excuse me.
but
Sorry.
yeah, but nothing major, no damages there, and yeah, I think that was kind of like a turning point for me. Um, I've seen guys get injured. I've seen damages and kind of helped patch up guys, but nothing really happened to myself. I had close calls, but there at Balad, I was there for about 5 days, and when I got there, I was obviously out. Uh, what woke me up was this medical procedure, where they probe you anally um, with your hands to relieve internal bleeding, and it hurts. So that woke me up. But at the
Fuck, dude.
at the same time, there was a chaplain holding my head, praying over me. So,
Oh, fuck.
so
That's not what you want to wake up to.
waking up to pain like that, 5 or 6 nurses, doctors, and the chaplain praying over me, I'm just thinking my body's in pieces. So I'm breaking out on the table. They put me back out, and I'm butt naked there, and obviously I can't see nothing out of my eyes, and everything's still blurry. Can't hear anything. Everything's just muffled, and they put me back under, and I wake up the next day. My face is still swollen. They just stitched me up, but I'm kind of coming back to, and it happened to be about nighttime, just in the evening, because I remember it being dark, and the army had casualties where I was at. It was a tent and sections of tents, and I was in this section of a tent where it was just empty beds, and I remember the helicopter landed, moves the tent around. You can hear screaming and yelling, and obviously people crying. And as they rolled these army guys in, and I'm there pretty much paralyzed, and I can only see out of one eye, just kind of like cocked to one side, and they rolled these guys in, and they're doing massive trauma to these guys. They're trying to patch them up. One guy had no legs. One guy was like just in pieces, and I'm there just paralyzed, not being able to move, and just watch this guy's like the double amputee guy ended up passing away, and I just kind of watched it. So I'm like, I just laid there, and it was so painful just to lay there and not be able to help, because it was they're like running between these army guys, and they're tearing close up. They're trying to like keep them from bleeding out, and I'm just laying there, and I'm like, man, I wish I could have helped. And even till this day, I'm like, man, it was just like felt so helpless. But it's.
But you were those guys like a couple days before,
Yeah.
or that day, or I mean, you were those guys that so it's not like. Yeah, dude, I get it though. You want to help, you want to do something. You see that they need assistance, and you just have to lay there and watch. I mean, God, man, that's a horrific scene to imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it was like to actually have been there. But
it's the exact same scene from what is it, Black Hawk Down, where they're trying to cut that clog that artery, catch it.
Oh yeah.
And there's like 5 guys mounted on top of this guy trying to put as much pressure they can, but they can't. They just can't do it. They can't stop it, and just literally waterfalls of blood coming out of these metal racks, carts they put you in, and it's just like everywhere, man. And I always come back to that, and it's kind of tough. But
I bet, man. I appreciate you sharing something like that though, because that what you're doing is painting a realistic picture of what war is like. You know what I'm saying, and the results of it, because it's very sanitized version of it you see on TV. Like there's some documentaries that get it pretty in depth and can show you some stuff, but I don't think the masses really understand the things that it could go through. That scene you just painted, like that is why I would never have wanted to be in the medical field.
Yeah.
I just don't think I could deal with that kind of, that just day in and day out in a combat zone. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and one thing I noticed, I don't blame the medics and doctors, because, I guess the main chief came in and was like, yeah, we're going to call it. And, the guy had bled out enough. And they called him, they called it and put a sheet over him. And here comes like 2 junior Navy guys and just mop up all the blood. And the chief's like, all right, clean it up and keep going. And they just go about their day. And it's...
yeah, clean it up and get ready for the next one.
They're so numb about it. But they do such great work. And shout out to all those guys who deal with anything trauma, from the corpsmen to flight medics, Dust Off, who was the ones that picked me up, and they deal with all of that, and they go in hot zones to pick us up, just to get us, hopefully save our lives, and that happened, and talked to a chaplain there, the one that was there, and he's like, it's all we can do is just pray for each other. I'm not religious at all, and just try praying this and that. I never did it, but I was like, man, I'm so unlucky. But then a lot of people were like, man, you're just really lucky, because all these guys, small explosions, they losing, super heavy amputations they can't even survive from, because they end up bleeding out. But I had compressed kneecaps. Apparently it's a thing. I had no idea. And
I've never heard of that. Yeah.
And it's pretty much where your cartilage that cushions your main bones just gets pushed to the side or crushed so much that it's just not there. So and I had like several bulging discs and things like that, but they flew me back out to TQ, and I was in crutches for like a couple of days, and obviously they're already taking a lot of contact out there, and I'm like, man, I want to go back out, work with the guys. So I managed to kind of tell the corpsman that I was good, which I wasn't, because I was still stitched up and I had bandage on my face, still swollen. And about 7 days later, I was back out on patrol. And
I cannot believe you didn't get flown out of country.
Yeah,
I can't believe you turned around and went back out. That's crazy.
I didn't want to just leave my guys.